Okay, so audio, video, good. Let's jump and see what we've done overnight. Post non-farm payrolls. And you can see we've made a very nice jump on ES up to 2651, right? So, and then here's NQ, just so we have a quick look. I saw oil was doing very nicely this morning as well. Non-farm payrolls, right? The domes were pretty well split yesterday. They should roll over to the primary volume after the first hour being on the H contract. Second. Okay, and I make sure I am. So let's see, that puts us at, let's go see how the overnight levels did and where Globex high and low came in. And before we get started, this is Simon with toughtrader.com and Trade and Perform Coaching. Before we get started, past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. I'm sharing my trade plan with you in hopes that it'll make you a better trader. Okay, so yesterday I warned the dome was thin. So I want to show y'all something really quick. If you look at yesterday's dome, right? So one of the ways you can measure how well the market is or is not trading is if you switch this to here, shift.nq.d, wrong chart, wrong keyboard, nq.d. You look at this and you switch this to a, is it 1800 tick chart on NQ? 1800, I believe. Hold on one second. I'll tell you really quick. I always get them backwards between which one I want to use, but I will look through my notes here real quick. Let's see. $2,500 tick. Okay, what I want to show y'all here. Okay, so when you can see when it's, so this is a 2,500 tick chart from the 6th, right? This is that same 2,500 ticks. So until 2,500 ticks go off, you can't form a bar. So look how many bars were formed, right? Look how many bars were formed on Wednesday. Look how many bars were formed on Thursday. That same chart, right? So you can see when the idea behind that is that you get a good clear signal of when the pace has or has not picked up. When you look at this on a 24-hour, right, what you'll see is that we still haven't expanded that much in volatility, right? This is pretty decent volatility through here. You can see it expand and contract. See how it gets really slow through here? You can see it expand and contract on the number of trades that are going off. It's helpful in figuring out if you use it just as a gauge to go, oh, I'm frustrated because I'm not getting that many trade setups, and I'm not getting that many trade setups because the market's not moving that much. Is the whole point. That's a big time frame, 2,500 ticks, right? And so you can see as it contracts, or if you're getting a lot of bars printing really quick, the point is if you're not getting a lot of bars, it should be a signal to you to slow your roll down because it's more challenging an environment or it's a slower environment. So that being said, let's go look at Globex high and low. So ES, we have 2652, window range all. Second here, ES, NQ. Why do I have two NQs here? I have an NQ that is not, that one's the wrong NQ. There we go. Okay, so ES, pop Globex high end, and we are at 2652. Let's stretch that out just a drop. And we're just behind that 50-60 retrace at 2652 even. It's pretty much one tick behind that 62 retrace, right? So that's color blue, style. And then Globex low came in at 2640 and a quarter, which was perfect. I like it when I get it right. And we pretty much traveled zone to zone, and that's nice when it does that. Okay, let's go look at how we did on NQ, which I got a feeling is a little bit stronger. NQ, I've got Globex high at 63.85.75. 63.85. Perfect. 85. Almost perfect. No, perfect. There we go. So that's not bad for non-farm payrolls. And I've got Globex low at way down here. 63.39. 63.39. Okay, so let's sneak a peek. Now that we got this fixed. At what we so first of all, I don't have an expectation built in today because it's non-farm payrolls. What I'm trying to figure out right out of the gate is if there's OTF involved or not. We are clearly gapping up. We're clearly going to have we should have a decent advanced decline right out of the gate. Tick should read better than plus 800, right? So those are the markers I'm looking for out of the gate to determine if how good the strength is. So if we're gapping up and tick is plus 500, I'm going to take a pause. I'm not going to want to jump on that, right? Because normally when we have an open drive higher or a trend day up, it's accompanied by a significant push to the upside. Secondly, it is non-farm payrolls. You want to see, is the range 10 points or is it like yesterday, 4 points? Okay. All day today, I am focused on executing on a algo setup that I have. I will be calling that algo setup up in specific. You will know in advance, right? Do not follow me blindly. But the goal is on ES. Now, the goal is going to be smaller. I will be scaling at 1 point and bringing the stop to break even, right? And on NQ, I'll be scaling at 3 points and bringing the stop to break even, okay? So I want to be clear on that when I point them out. They will be accompanied, right, on a, for the most part, we will see a, hold on, move this to a 5-minute. You will usually see some type of dot that forms in accordance with that trade, right? So this is integrating the algo into the room. First time we're doing that. I don't have another set trade plan. I certainly don't want to short a strong gap up, right? We've seen in the past where that's run, where you just simply get run over. Additionally, right, let me go through the protocol for the gap up. If we open up, right, and your first bar looks like this, okay? This is for my aggressive traders. And the market internals are strong, meaning ticks above 800, right? Advanced decline is over 1,500 advancers, right? If we close that first 5 minutes like this, the most aggressive entry is entry at the close of that first 5-minute bar, a stop 1 point below that low, right? And what you're attempting to do is get a better than 1-to-1 risk reward with a push to the upside. This does fail on occasion. It's an aggressive setup. Know if you're comfortable taking it, right? What you should see is a push to the upside. Setup 2, right? Because if we look at the let me get we'll go with NASDAQ first, and then we'll look at ES. So if we look at NASDAQ, there we are. Let me close some of these down. I think I'll close. I want that one. I think I will close. I want that. I will close that for now. Close chart book. Okay. On NQ. Okay. Here we are. Okay, so if we look at what we're gapping into, right, there's literally only one place here that could cause us any significant trouble, and it's sitting at 64.42. Okay, we have this value area low, value area high, right, and we have this point of control at 64.39.75, and we have the TPO point of control at 64.43. If this thing's going to reverse, given the gap, this is the logical target up, right? If we don't fail, right? If we start trending up, this is where we're trading right now, 63.82. All the points of control through here, if you look to the left, everything has been tested over and checked upon, right? This is where I figured we would have some difficulty if we had opened in the day session, meaning we pushed up. I figured this little area right here is where we'd have trouble. We were opening above that. So my guess is as long as we hold above this area, right? So there's two things to keep in consideration. Once we've traded over this area, the chart has been repaired up here. It is now free to roll back to the downside, right? So just because it's free to roll back to the downside doesn't mean that it will roll back to the downside, right? What are we determining? So we're so far above the gap and we're so far above prior day's value. If it weren't for the size of the recent ranges, I would say there's really no chance of getting back in. So instead, what do I want to see? I'm looking for the open drive higher, either 3 green bars up or getting long the first green bar and taking the run to the upside. If we consolidate and fail to push back in the first hour, my guess will be that we will push back to 64.42. Is that within reach? It is. We're trading 63.82. We tack on 60 points in the regular session. That puts us at 64.10. The first 30, another 30 puts us at 64.40. That would be 60 up and approximately a plus 100 day, which the NASDAQ has done this past week. We had a plus 100 point morning, right? So this is completely within the purview of the market being able to attain this upper end, right? The other area that would be natural to look for responsive sellers would be a push above 64.06 and then a trap back underneath, a push. So let me draw that out so everyone can see it. We come up, we push above, and either we push above here, come back down, get underneath, and then roll back down. That's what a failure would end up looking like, right? Non-failure would be we come up, either we reject here or we consolidate, particularly if we consolidate and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and then breaks, right? That's still the natural target. On the other hand, if we open up and drive straight in and then reject, what you want to see is getting back underneath 64.06, and that would set us up for a potential push back to 63.50. I really don't have a reason to be bearish or to think it's going to come back down. But again, I'm just going to read the price action and let the price action tell me what the market wants to do. What I want from the market is what the market wants from me, right? I don't have an agenda. I don't want the market to run up. I don't want the market to run down. I just want the market to do what it's going to do, and I want to get in alignment with that, right? So I know on a gap up, I don't want to be a fader. If it turns around and it drops straight out and goes straight down, so be it. I probably will be out of that trade, right? So number 2, let's go look at ES. So just to understand, all of this has been covered up. This really was the only speed bump in this entire area up here. I've been telling you this about for 3 days that there really wasn't much in the way of moving back up and retesting this area. And of course, that puts us back in near highs, right? And as strong as the market is, again, when people talk about getting bearish, my whole reference is look at Bitcoin. It's been on a tear, and it can, in a market that is very strong. What size stop on that open? The stop will be whatever the bar is. Ian, I assume you're talking about the gap up and the close on the first 5-minute bar. The stop is 1 point underneath whatever the low of that bar is. So then you got to ask yourself, so Ian asked a good question. Can I afford that stop, or what's the stop that I can afford? Let's say this is on NQ. This ends up being a 20-point stop, and you go, I'm not going to put in a 20-point stop. I can't afford that, right? Well, then the way you modify that, the mistake traders make is they go, well, I'm going to do this and hope a 10-point stop works. Oh, on the algo, I'll go through that in just a second, Ian. I'll point them out in real time. It's variable, and it varies it's the low. I will tell you what it is it'll vary per trade, and I'll tell you what it is on each trade as a trigger, okay? Because it's based on the bars that are in front of the entry. But you bring up a good point anyways. On this entry, let's say you take this entry and you go, I can only afford a 10-point stop, right? What I'll see people do is take this for fear of missing the trade, and they'll go, I'll just put in a 10-point stop, which happens to end up being about the 50 retrace. It comes back, tags the 50 retrace, stops you out, then goes about its merry way. In my eye, the appropriate way to enter that trade is if you can only afford a 10-point stop, right? What you do is you say, it's 20 here. I need a 1-point stop behind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 11 points from the high of this bar, and that's where I'm putting my limit order to enter that trade. And I'm going to hope it comes back and wicks me in for that trade so that I can manage my risk appropriately and give myself the best odds of letting that trade work out. If you enter that trade the other way going, I'm hoping to grab this trade and I sure hope it works out, that's fine. It might work out, but you also have a very good chance, because 50 retraces are very normal, of just getting tagged out at the mid and pushing up. I always prefer to structure it so I can survive the trade instead of giving into the feeling of having to grab the trade, right? Let's go look at ES. It's a little bit bigger, different picture there. ES. Okay. Oh, that's not ES. It says ES, but it's not ES. I've got to rework these charts this weekend right here. There we go. Pull it in a little bit. That's not in. There we go. That's in. There we are. We're currently trading at 26.50. Your resistance is sitting at 56 to 58.50 if we get up there. This is your only hurdle to push above. Very important. If we consolidate, so this is all a neighborhood that has to be gotten through, right? It will take a very strong move to push through it. There's clearly a low volume node sitting right behind here on the profile, okay? The point behind this is, number one, once this gets fixed, there's a little anomaly right here. The market is likely to exhaust. So really, it's somewhere between here and just behind here at 26.60 is your true resistance area. That whole area is a resistance point, right? If we get through here and we consolidate on this top side of this trade, right, that sets us up for a push to new highs. It's non-farm payrolls. I don't know if we can make that or not. I don't have an opinion about it ahead of time. I do know if we consolidate above here, I would like to be long for a push to the upside, because there's nothing holding me back once I get up here. Conversely, if we get up here and we consolidate in here and then push down, right, I would like to be short. Where's the trip to? If we hold underneath this area, trip is right back to retest 26.40 from yesterday. We are up 8 points. The ranges have been 20 to 30 points. Good morning, Ron. Welcome. So they're all achievable, right? All those targets are completely achievable. My biggest concern is a lack of liquidity in the domes, which brings up large random moves or larger moves than you anticipate, and OTF stepping in. For those who can't, so I coach a lot of guys. I coach a lot of really good traders, and the same thing happens over and over to almost every trader I speak to. They look at the market and they get used to taking trades at certain levels, and they don't pay attention to range expansion. Yesterday, we had a very narrow range relative to the week. That is normal in front of non-farm payrolls. Do not be shocked to see a sudden expansion in range today, because OTF could step in and you have a thin dome. How do you measure that? One of the measures is going to be, look at the rotation size through the first half hour of the day. If all of a sudden we have a 20-point rotation in the first half hour, adjust your entry targets and your loss targets to adjust for that expectation, right? Secondly, get very specific with where you want to enter. I will help pinpoint those areas intraday using the points of control from the half-hour time frame, right? That's the other thing I'm going to introduce and actively be using in the room to help us locate targets for entry, okay? Let's see if there's anything else I want to cover for the day. I want to look for tick divergence at the lows. I'm not crazy about shorting. We're not in a bear market. And now if you look at this, what we have done is we've started to build a nice base down here. And now in order for shorts to work out, we're going to have to get below this chunk of volume, right, to come in and examine these two areas. If you look at the profile, right, this profile is in pretty good shape. What needs to be repaired down here at a quick glance is this area right here is begging to get fixed, okay? So, but now we have hurdles in our way. We're 26.50. We're going to have to get past this area first in order to repair it. If we can get past this area, this is the most logical target down here. And once this is repaired, we're free to move back up. This would make a great expanded range up and down. It's getting towards the end of the year. And the reason we're getting that volatility is you have managers taking profits on very nice fat portfolios, right? So that's my 2 cents for the day. I'm just laying back and I'm staying calm, Oil's doing very well. It's a gap, but it's not an enormous gap, right? It's 8 points. And there's not a lot of volatility pre-market, right? So we want to see what the rotation sizes look like once they start. I don't have anything to add beyond that, guys. I'll point out the trades as they set up intraday. First touch of the white zones are valid trade location. I want to show this real quick. Yesterday on ES, right? Once again, for those who are new in the room, right? First touch in the white zone produced a beautiful counter rotation. I did not take that yesterday. So I was having kind of a rough day yesterday. It was my dad's birthday. He passed several years ago. At any rate, I forget that it's his birthday, and then I tend to have I generally have just a negative day on that day for some reason. So whatever it is, I haven't processed something about that. I'll work on it. I feel much better today. The point is the white zone held here the first time in, right? That's all its job is to do, is to pause the market and then potentially give a rejection. Get into the white zone, we pause it. We obviously eventually got a rejection. You had to have the patience of a saint to make this work. And then we roll to the upside. So at any rate, that's my 2 cents. I do not have an agenda today. I'm going to wait and see what the market shows me. And then I'm going to respond, right? I'm going to be responsive to what it is showing me in the rotations. I am not eager to trade today, right? The reason I say that, so I want to give clarification for those who are new in the room. When I say I'm not eager to trade, I have a very easy time pulling the trigger. I'll pull the trigger for almost any reason that I see, okay? That is my self-defense from starting to click on the opening tick, right? If you have a hard time pulling the trigger, you should be going, I'm looking for my trade locations and I will trade, right? It's a psychological game I play with myself. I've got to slow myself down. Other people need to speed themselves up. Just coaching 101. Number 2, if you're not using a journal and going through how you feel, you should already decide if you're all right taking a loss on non-farm payrolls, knowing that OTF can be involved. If you look at the day and go, dude, I took 2 stops back to back on OTF because they stepped in and it made an outside move, don't trade today because they will not be there Monday, right? The market will go back to being perfectly normal. You're dealing with contract rollover and you're dealing with non-farm payrolls. It can be a wicked mix. Just make a pure and simple decision ahead of time. I'm cool with losing money. This is where I want to lose money. That's how I decide what trades I'm going to take. Is I go, this is where I'm cool losing money. If you'll give me a minute, I have a couple of charts I got to set up, and I got to get my trading dome up and running, and then we will go from there. Where in the heck? I don't have one of my trading domes up, so give me just a second. That'll be fixed in just 1 sec. Okay. Maybe. And now I need to see what I need to do here. Market's open. And I hope to have my Russell 2000 chart fixed. It is totally FUBAR, guys. Tick is plus 1200. Advancers are set at 1797. That is not fading territory, just FYI. Okay, it can fail on that. It's just not a super fantastic bet, but that's what will happen. NQ's gapping right into the white zone. If you were aggressive, right, this is the area I thought we would fail at, right outside the gate. This is a good potential failure area, just FYI. So one sec. It's just tough to short those gap ups into those white zones, right? Okay, right into the white zone, right into the big picture 50-60, right? Strong open. We're going to have to see if they actually have the ability to reject that out of there. This is a resistance point, but it does not necessarily mean that they will reject out of this area given the size of the gap. Again, I think you can wait the first half hour and get a pretty good idea of which way they're going to take it pretty quickly. If you are uber aggressive, the zone is valid. I put it there for a reason, right? So again, it's just a matter of, hey, I'm comfortable in non-farm payrolls or I'm not comfortable taking the loss. Personally, my inclination is to short that white zone with a 20-point stop and a 1/3 size trade, right? Kind of fade through here. That's my inclination. I'm not going to do it because it's non-farm payrolls. So I'm just going to watch and see if my intuition is correct on that. That is a hard fade given how hard and how strong the internals are. And as you can see, it's driving straight through there right out of the gate. Let's see what it does. Again, not the rip-roaring open I would have expected. Maybe now they're kind of coming to life and going, oh, hey, what do you know? Past that white zone. Next target up is straight up. Look at that. Again, the pattern for the week, remember, has been open tick has been the low tick of the day for almost 3 days in a row now. Hey, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I do have great memories of my father. Thank you so much. So again, remember, everyone gets used to the open tick being the low tick, and they press right out of the gate, right? So not shocking. Pushed a little bit past that white zone. Again, relatively speaking, not much volatility out of the gate, right? And look at the dome; it's just slow. And the Z contract still has the majority of the liquidity. That should change over the morning. But even H is all right. There's 170 on the bid, 130 on the ask. Still a little thin. There we go. Drop down to 35 pretty quickly in the dome. I don't have. I don't think. Nope. Insert indicator. Again, to close that first 5-minute bar, if you're uber aggressive on the long side and you think we trend day up, that's it. I'm not jumping in. I'm waiting till I get my signals, like I said. We have closed above the white zone. That was the point. It rejected pre-market. We're above. We've got to get back below this area in order to trap back in. I don't know that we will or won't. ES kind of not looking so hot there. Advancers are still okay, but not fantastico. And again, the opening rotation, 2651 to 2648, right? Not incredible. So again, notice on this trade, if you took it, you got stopped out on that. Again, I'm doing nothing. I thought this was general resistance. Nice. Interesting. Again, the odds of us filling this gap are not all that high, so just keep that in mind. Look at that. Some people might be concerned. So that eliminates your open drive higher possibility. aggressive shorts can shoot for 63.72 short against the high of the day on NQ. 63.72 short against the high of the day. Okay. Again, I'm just pointing out where the algos are triggering and where they're showing potential setups. So that 63.72 would be a stop against the high of the day. It's only for aggressive traders. I suggest you keep a track just of as I run down these trades through the course of the day, right? Just how they run. This is off the shortest time frame setup, and I will also dictate whether it's off a high time frame or a low time frame. I don't have a long setup yet. And actually, I do now have a higher time frame set up for a short if it could tag it. $63.91. Okay. Is that right? What did I say earlier off the 2? Oh, I apologize, guys. I have, let me adjust the chart's on the wrong. I missed that one. HA, correct in just a second. That number I gave you just a second ago, it's coinciding now. It would be quickly working 63.91 still. Again, you have to be pretty uber aggressive on that 63.91 to be comfortable there. And that's against the high of the day. It didn't get it. Come on. I got 63.91 now. Okay, so that my stop's against the high of the day. I'm pretty comfortable with that. It takes a new high, I'm pretty much done. So again, this is a scalp for me. So you will see me scalping this down pretty quickly on the downside. Okay. As in 2 or 3 points. So I do not suggest anyone follow me on this, right? This is an uber aggressive trade. It's sized appropriately, right? This could easily just bust straight out. 63.88 is my first scale. Not achieved yet. Again, this is a fast trade, right? $63.88's done. Okay, now you have to decide if you want to bring your stop to break even or leave it as is. I'm leaving mine as is. Okay. Right now, the point of control is below where we're at right now. It has to move lower, right? So from that 63.91, right? That's how quick those algos work. It rolled all the way down to 63.86. That's how fast that trigger works, okay? It's not meant to be a super, oh, this is reversal top of the market type of trade. It's supposed to give you very specific location for a scalp entry is what it is supposed to do. And then you have to decide in the bigger picture whether you want to hold that for a bigger swing or not. Again, I'm pretty comfortable here taking a shot for a reversal back in towards the gap fill. So I'm staying with the trade. Anyone who wants out, you've had an opportunity to cover from 91 all the way down to 86, 5 points. It's $100 a contract. That's a good trade. That's how that's going to work on NQ, and same with ES. Crosshair tool. Right now, getting below 63, 86.50 is the key. That's where the point of control is in this half-hour bar so far for the day. Below 86.50 gives it room to the downside. Conversely, holding above gets you a push up. So I've taken a few small scales on this, and I'm holding a position for a move back towards the low of the day. I could be totally wrong on that. I'm just willing to stop it out there if it's wrong. The reason why I'm willing to try that out is because everyone is trying to get the low tick of the day to be the low tick. Let's see if we work it the other way around now, where the first high of the day ends up being the high and they push it back the other way. That could be a completely wrong thought process, but occasionally I like to go against the grain. The tick is below zero at this point, right? Advancers are starting to come off. We're at 1,500 advancers. I have a feeling I could get this thing to push in, so that's what I'm working for. I could be totally wrong on that, right? Non-farm payrolls, everything is fair. The most important part there is that we got specific location to get a short, and you were able to get 5 points out of that short on NQ. And as I see them on ES set up, I will call them out on ES. Again, 86, this is where the point of control is in this bar. Has to get below 86 to make any progress to the downside. Not the rip-roaring action I would have expected. Come on, let's bust 86. Thumb's still pretty light so far. The ask is okay. The bid, yeah, so-so. Held that 86, held that second test so far. I need it below 86 if I'm going to make any progress. So I'm communicating clearly, right? 86 is an important point. If it doesn't get below, it's going to go to a new high. Okay, just be aware of that. That has to happen. That's why you're seeing it pause here, because everybody and their brother knows that 86 is an important number at this point. Below 86, and I get a chance to close Dalton's gap back up at 58.25. right? 286. They're trying to hold it. The converse is if you think that they're going to hold that 86, is you take that 86 and run with it, right? For a new high. I'm not that bullish. So there goes 86. I need to hold below. Look at that. They're making everyone freaking agonize over it. Seriously? Pay it or don't? 86, 86. We need a flush below 86. It's not flushing, so I'm taking another scale here, right now, at 86. And if you're brave, you take the other side of that for a run back up. I still have a small short left on at this point from 91. We're now below that 86, but it's certainly not flushing below there. Like I would have liked to see it break and just a quick 10. Then we're not getting that. So that's the reason for the scale. The opposite approach there is to take that and take that against the low of the day at 80 and a quarter. I don't feel like taking that trade, so I'm not going to. Creeping below that 86, but there's not a lot of sellers there so far. Moving stop to break even on balance. So this is a profitable trade no matter what. Again, for those who are looking for a long against it, you have a pretty easy long there on NQ against the low of the day. Looks like my trailer will get stopped at 91. But not yet. Internal's still looking good. 1660 advancers against 1054 decliners. The ratio is 1.58. Advanced decline ratio. Again, I think if you're looking for a long, this is a decent location against the low of the day. I don't have anything triggering me into a long yet. It's just outlining strategic thinking. And ES is right back near the high of the day, so we're not falling apart. My stops, again, break even, and you're free to cover because it didn't. I would have expected it to blast that 86, and it didn't. So that takes that short idea off the table for now. Top of the hour on tap, by the way, guys. Expect algos. Stop is done. Again, if you took it against that 86, you had a beautiful long entry there. Congratulations to those who got it. Maybe I should have been more bullish, but I wasn't. I need to dupe this trade over. This is open auction, bounce, and chop, guys. Just be aware. Slow your roll down. It's really not very good trading here yet. I've had one, that 91 was one decent setup, and even then it was really worth 5 or 6 points. It wasn't phenomenal. For an NQ trade, it wasn't phenomenal. Econ in 1 minute. I believe. Maybe I'm wrong on that. It's Friday. I would think there's econ. Pick's not really cooperating. You know that? I'm not sure why. Just FYI, heads up on that. Tick is not cooperating. That 91 has turned into a rock. That 91.50. It needs to clear that 91.50. If it clears 91.50, look for a backside test on that 91.50 for a secondary long entry position. But this is open auction chop, guys. We may have grabbed the only two sides out of it that were possible. We're basically 91 to 86. So we need to clear 91, and if we clear 91, I would look for a backside test of that 91, preferably with a 5 to 10 point rotation in for a long side trade. You'd want it to wick in and wick out, right? What a mess. I would expect an attempt at responsive buying at 63.7150 if we lose this 90, if we lose that 86 on NQ, followed by another attempted response at around 63.40 if it really melted. So my plan is if we can extend out over 91.50 to work the backside test of that 91.50 for a long. And I'm just going to let it sit here and do what it has to do in this particular area because we're just chopping people back and forth. Don't understand. Well, that's about as unfortunate an open as I can imagine for today. Just lean back and wait for a move one way or the other, guys. It's not bearish. And yesterday, you know, we sat too long and they forced the shorts out. If we don't get below 86, there's no reason for those guys to be nervous. I may have made all the money I'm going to make today. Wow. And key retesting that 91. It's got to bust it. Wow, I didn't know 91 was going to become a magic number. This is not the way tick usually looks on trend day up. This is not the way the open usually goes on trend day up, guys. Just FYI. We can still push out, but now the next trade I'm looking for now is for break of IB high, right? Just going through our patterns, right? Break of IB high, 50, 60 back for continuation back out. That would be my hope. If we could get a long setup. The dome's still relatively thin on the H contract. I see 7 to 50 on the bid at times. Still concerning on ES. And they're still playing ping pong with NQ. So I'd say wait for the move at this point. If there is going to be one, don't get chopped, right? Your capital is valuable. Like to retest at 86. Back to test the 91. Which way will we go? Just play some ping pong. I'll be right back and refill my coffee. That's the heaviest negative tick of the day, and they can't break the low. Heads up on that, guys. And NQ breaking above 91. Just be aware. That'll be pretty decisive right there. That's a heavy push against the low of the day, right? Heaviest negative tick, right? With NQ breaking above 91. Okay, so if it holds above 91, there's the 915. I don't know why I have an alarm set for 915. So again, you have a pretty easy setup here. If this holds the low of the day, right, or we push in and then close back up and push out, you want to look for that potential reversal right there. Again, we're within chop conditions, right? And this is also worth noting the first time we're above 91 on a close on a 5-minute bar since the open, right? All the other closes have come underneath 91 and rejected 91. So this is actually looking okay. If this holds, this looks okay for a long side move. That's an if. I'm actually entertaining taking 2648. Oh. NQES. Low, but sure looks like that way, doesn't it? Ron asked what the odds were that Employment Friday would have the lowest range of the week. Oh, didn't hold. They rejected that 91 yet again. They tried to get above it and couldn't. Below the low of the day. New low on ES. Wow, they were close to breaking it. You see how they suckered those guys in one last time? Wow. The tick is the problem here. They're selling in the market. So still watch for a trap back in and a close back above. This is your low close prior to this bar. I missed it. They just closed it by. See how they just closed it a hair below here? Wow. That was crafty. We're below 86 now. Okay, so now you're below the bottom of balance. This will end up being the low close of the day if this closes down here on a 5-minute bar. Back in. I am long ES against the low of the day. Okay, literally, I have stopped one tick below here. I took it right at 48. Stop 46 and a quarter. So it comes back on me. I will get stopped out again. I'm just trading what they're offering here. Okay, they try to push below. It looks like they're going to close back into range. And that's what I'm betting on. I may end up getting chopped. Then I'm watching for an impulse move above 91, and then I'm looking for a backside test of that 91 for a long on NQ. I don't want to get caught in this ping pong between 86 and 91, so I'd like a break and a quick backside test. That's a close back into range. I'd really like it to hold this at this point. I do not want a new low. If tick doesn't turn positive, it'll not be bueno. Come on, let's lift that. Back to 91 on NQ. Wow, absolutely horrible range. And now we can't lift the quarter. The problem is technically the spread is 2 ticks wide because of how thin the dome is. Come on. They should have trapped the sellers there. Nope. There we go. Some size on the bid. Nope. Guys, I can't get this to lift, and I would have thought the response would have been pretty quick here. I need him to lift that 48. Right. Hmm. Not my idea of fun. I'm bailing on the trade, closing it, market. Either way, this is not cool. There's no momentum. I took a shot. That's that. I donated commissions. It's free to lift now. Tick is still negative. I couldn't get immediate response off that trap. I may have been impatient with it, but it's all right. Damn, I gave it just 1 minute too long. This is what convinced me to get out of it. I think you couldn't break that 91 yet again. Back to the 86, ping pong on NQ. And of course, the S is lifting now, or was. It would have been nice to at least get something out of it. That's all right. Man, that was frustrating. I was just 5 minutes too slow. I just wanted a quick lift off of that, and I couldn't get it. Right read, wrong impulse. Sorry, guys. I was way too quick on the trigger there. Donated commissions. Still looking for the break of that 91 and a quick backside test. It is frustrating how we shift gears so fast from fast to slow. So I'm going to slow my roll here for a bit, take a little stroll around the office. You know what? I forgot to close the live room. Guys, thank y'all on YouTube for joining us. I keep forgetting to close this on time. Thank you for joining us. If you'd like to visit us in the room on a regular basis, you can email me at tradeandperform@gmail.com. I'm happy to extend a 5-day pass. This is Chop City, so I'm flat until we make a break one way or the other. This is just chop chop. So I'm blessed to have pulled a little bit of money out of this that I did. So we're below that 86 now. And again, tick's all negative. That's the only warning sign I see all this is that there is selling in the broader market and the advancers are starting to slip. Okay, guys. So at any rate, I'm all flat. Thank y'all for joining. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope y'all make a lot of money. And remember, the number one rule, protect your capital, right? There's always another winning trade. No one day counts. No one trade counts unless you make it that way. And that's a fact. So have a great day, guys. Thank y'all.